We cannot hear. Are you? Yes, for some reason we cannot hear you. We can't hear anything. Hold on. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the technical issues, but give us just a few moments to figure this out. Sister A, can you go back out and come back in for us, please? Please give us a few moments, everyone. We'll figure this out. By the way, for those that are here tuning in, thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight is a little different, and we're excited about this time. We have a new guest here, Jemeria. I hope I said that right, Jemeria. She's an author and a beautiful person within and without, and would like to introduce her to you tonight. Sister Annette is our host. She's back on, so let's see how things are going. Sister Annette, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. Good
Yes, there you
evening
go.
and welcome to our podcast. We have a very special guest with us tonight that's going to take us to a trip to the donut shop. So, if you would like to be a part of our live broadcast, our number is 866 538 3664. That number is 866 538 3664. And how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How are
Okay.
you?
Tell us a little about yourself and your book.
Well, I am a entrepreneur. I have a tutoring business. It's called Building Readers First, and I teach children how to read. And so what I wanted to do to motivate more children to read and to encourage them that they could be whatever they wanted to be, I made a book called Pagey Wagey's Donut Shop. And it's about a 4-year-old girl who had a dream and wanted to make donuts, and she ended up opening up her own shop and making money.
That's a good thing. Now, you say that you have a business teaching young people or teaching children to read. Your ages vary how?
So the business is primarily for those who are in K through 3. Those are usually the most critical areas of reading, but we do go all the way up to 12th grade, and we offer other services as well in other content areas. So if you need science or social studies, we're able to provide that as well.
What made you want to do this?
I was working in the school system. I taught for 5 years before opening up my business. And I saw throughout the whole time I was teaching that there were a lot of students who couldn't read well. And if they could read, they really couldn't comprehend the material. So, as everyone knows, we have standardized tests that students are supposed to meet and master certain content areas. And I taught science. So, how can you master the science content areas and you can barely understand what it's saying?
Did you find that there was a specific type of child, or is this non-reading straight across the board?
The funny thing is it's straight across the board. So a lot of people would think it's for a particular ethnic group, but I found that there are a lot of students, even that come from different types of families, like two-person family homes, or either if you have a single parent, it doesn't matter. Students are struggling regardless of their age, regardless of their ethnic group. It's across the board.
Now, why are the children so lacking? Is it due to the gadgets there or the parents not? What would you say, I'm sorry, is the reason for their lack?
So there are many reasons, and what we can't do is start pointing it in a specific area. Oh, it's the parents. Oh, it's the teachers. Oh, it's everybody, because we all have to work together in order to make the children successful. So for some children, it could be more in one area than another, but it's all of us having to come together and have that common goal to get our kids reading and to know that they can, and they can read, and they have the ability to read.
If a child comes and he has some type of emotional problem because of things that are happening in the home, how would you deal with that?
I'm all about confidence. So when a child comes in, I'm all about making that child feel comfortable in my presence. So whatever that child needs, if the child says, something's going on at home, then as that adult in the room, I have to address it with the parent. Or if I would need to go further, then I would have to do that. But it's all about being there for that child. If a child knows that they have someone in their corner, then they're going to perform better if they know that they have someone that is supporting them. And that's what we do here. We support our kids.
Was there ever a time in your life when you needed to reach out to someone to help you?
Yes, there have been many of times that I've needed someone to help me. And thank God I was blessed to have people around me who could mentor me, who could encourage me. My childhood mentor is still with me today. And she knows every aspect of my life to be able
Okay.
to help and encourage me. And so I take on that same responsibility. And I have other children or teenagers, I guess I should say, that I mentor as well.
What if a child is in a place? What would you suggest for them to do?
So, my thing is, I'm very, very spiritual. I believe in God. And a lot of people dismiss the power of prayer. So, one thing is you got to pray, because when you think no one else is hearing you, there is a God in heaven and he can hear you and he can send help for you. So that's
Earlier,
my
you,
main.
you were speaking about your favorite verse.
Oh yeah, Romans 8:28 is my favorite verse. All things work
Work
together for
together.
the good of
Amen.
them who love the Lord. Like,
Amen.
it doesn't matter what you are going through. It doesn't matter who comes in your life and tries to attack you and make you feel less than, or what situation you've got to go through. If you had to lose your house, if they picked up your car, God will work that out for your good and it will be better than before. I am a living testimony. So
I'm going to interject here for a moment, may I,
Certainly.
Mrs. Okay, well, Mrs. The 313 asks about your business, Jemeria. She asks, is this an online tutoring program?
So we do virtually, we tutor virtually and we tutor in person.
Very good.
And are you free to tell them where it is in case they're near that and can? Okay.
Yes, it is Building Readers First. It's located in Milledgeville, Georgia, 187 Robertson Mill Road, Suite 106.
Okay. When did you have the idea that you just drop everything and start your business? What prompted that? I mean, yeah.
It takes
Okay, so
courage.
I was working in my fifth year at Oak Hill Middle School, and that burden was just laid on me so heavy, so heavy. I had the seventh graders, and like I said, I was teaching life science, and that burden was so heavy on me. And I was like, God, like, what do I do? And I go home and I say, oh my gosh, these kids are having trouble reading. Like, what do I do? I was in the bathroom at school one day on my knees, like, Lord, you gonna have to help me.
Oh,
You're gonna have to help me. I mean, and he does that. Whatever he has for you to do, he'll lay a burden on you so thick that you have no other choice but to walk in his steps towards that purpose.
So you left the school, and how did you start?
Ooh, okay. So I found a place. And mind you, everybody's looking at me crazy, even my husband. I found a place to tutor at. And the I prayed and the money came. We found resources to get the place, and I just sat there, with my sign. I had my sign out there, and I just sat there, and I was, just waiting for people to come in. Because mind you, I never did this before, so I don't know
wow.
what's supposed to happen.
Wow.
But God sent the people to me. He sent the people of that had kids that were in need of my help, and it worked out just like that, perfectly.
So now the children are in your program, and do they have a specific time to stay there, or until they master those courses?
Actually, no. So the way I have it set up is As soon as a student, there's no particular time. If a student stays with me a month, or they decide to stay with me 3 months, or they decide to stay with me a year, it's totally up to the parent and where they feel like their student is growing. I don't want a student to stay with me forever, because once you get it, then guess what? There are more students that need our help. So then I need to be able to have that time and that space to serve other children. So I don't know. I want you to get in you what you need, and then you go out and be successful.
That's right.
How would you encourage young people for their, okay, now say someone doesn't do well in math, but they have ideas. How would you encourage them?
So math is one of those subjects where you're just like, I don't know, even if it's reading. So there's this one thing that I say to all of my students. If they get it, they understand it is okay to be wrong. Once you feel comfortable with being wrong, then you can feel comfortable being right. So if you're
Hmm.
struggling in math and you're getting those answers wrong, you're one step closer to getting them right.
And you said you have some young people. You mentioned the program that you have with young entrepreneurs. Tell us about that.
So that is called Faith It Out. And Faith It Out is, it's really a women's movement. And it's from high school and up. So what that is it unites, it empowers, and it inspires women to follow their God-given purpose, and encourages entrepreneurship. So a lot of people are held back by fear. They want to start their own business. They want to show their gifts. They want to show their talents, but they're afraid because they're stuck in a bubble. Like I have to, like for example, for teaching, somebody would have thought, oh, well, you have to teach for 30 years if that's your life. Not this one. Not in that capacity. God gave me another gift, thank God. And I'm still teaching, but he gave it to me in a different way.
Right.
Right? He
Yeah.
gave it to me in a different way. And so Faith It Out is about literally faithing it out, trusting God that whatever he sends your way or whatever he's planted in you, to let it prosper.
How do you decide what ideas to go with?
As for Faith It Out, or in what capacity?
As if a young person was coming to you and they have their ideas are, how do they narrow it down to something specific?
So for me, I would tell them there's always something that sticks with you. There's always something that when people see it, they're like, oh my gosh, you do well at that, or that is so good. And a lot of times we ignore it. And I would tell them to focus on what is it that you think that you're here to do? How is that going to impact other people? Because when you find something that's going to help other people, then you pretty much found your niche.
I
Some
have a
on,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. I had a
Sorry.
question. Going back to your book, um, how do you relate to your book? How does your personal life relate to the person in the story in the book?
So Paigey Wagey had a dream. There was something that she liked. She liked donuts. So she started out just liking it. She had donuts in her hair. She wore donuts everywhere. And then she decided, listening to her brother, said, well, why don't you sell these donuts? And guess what? That was an idea that came to her and she acted on it. So for me as an entrepreneur, I acted on what I love to do, right? I
That's
acted
right.
upon I acted on it. And so therefore I was able to get the support that I need. Because Paige Wagey couldn't go into the bank and just be like, hey, she had to have the support from her parents. Or
True.
for us, you have to have the support from somewhere, right? And then she went ahead and she did what she had to do.
Now, how would you give that support on a personal level, especially dealing with these young people? You know, they have so much to deal with day after day, the challenges. I mean, just going to school can be a challenge, much less the studying. So how do you give that support?
So, like I said, being grounded in God, being grounded in the scriptures. I know a lot of people look past that, but it is so helpful. And if you could just get that connection, with God, with reading your Bible, with praying, with being in a group, right? You can get a group study. And if you would just tap into that, then you would be okay. And then you would also have to surround yourself with positive people, because the people you have around you can persuade you to do good, or they could persuade you to be bad. So who you have around you is another big a big and important thing.
Had one more question for you. Well, at least another question, I should say. Mr. 313 asked, where can we purchase the book?
So you can purchase the book if you type it in Google. The great thing about it now is my book is in different places, so I don't have to just say you can purchase it from me or Amazon. You can go to Barnes and Noble now. There are a couple other different places you can
Books
purchase
a
it if you
Million is
just
one.
Google.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Mhm. Very good. Okay.
How do you make time if a young person is in school? How do they make time for the dreams that they have?
So you have to maximize what you have. Um, a lot of people used to laugh at me, and maybe you have to wherever you are that you can get to do it. It may be using the restroom. If you got your pen and your paper in there, that's the only place that you can go and write. It may be just wherever you are on the couch, like whatever you're doing, you can make time. If you're eating a bowl of cereal, you can make time and have that pen and that paper and get everything together. So it doesn't have to be anything specific or wait for a big conference or whatever to start figuring out where you want to go with your dreams. It could be just as simple as getting a piece of paper out and writing what you want to do, or putting it in a Google Doc.
Now, going back to your book, did she have any difficulties or anyone coming against her in the book?
No, in the book, she has a perfect world.
That would be nice.
In the
That
book,
would
it's
be
a perfect
a
world.
perfect world. Okay. So we don't have a perfect world.
We
So if
don't.
if you run into a person and they hear you say you need to trust God and pray, and they've had a difficult childhood or a difficult life, and they don't find the ability to do that, what would you tell them?
I would recommend a therapist. I think therapy is underrated. And some people think that if you trust God, you can't go to a therapist. But you need someone to talk to, you need someone to listen to, and you need to heal from your past. And so if a therapist helps you to heal from your past, then you should do that.
So now your book is selling. Is there a sequel to it coming?
I have been thinking of so many things. So you may there's a lot of different ways I can go with it. I could keep the Page UAG series going, or I can introduce an entrepreneurial series to it. I've been working on an entrepreneurial series where you have a boy, kind of like a boy
Right.
version of going to the Lego shop.
Mhm.
So you might see that come out. But I love Paigey Wagey so much too. So you might just see a whole a whole lot of things happening.
Now,
Oh,
where did you come with that idea?
My daughter is named Paige. I have
oh.
3 kids. I have a husband and 3 children. So her name is Paige, and my sister, ever since she was a baby, called her Paigey Wagey. So it had a ring to
Okay.
it.
Nice.
So what days are you in operation for your tutoring?
Tutoring is Monday through Thursday, and it's from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Monday through
through
Thursday, you said.
Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday.
All right. And they come there after school
Right.
and can stay until the time is over.
Well, they're 50-minute sessions.
Oh, okay. All right.
So do you teach it like in a group, or they're individualized, um, from
Currently, they're
student?
individualized,
Oh,
Oh,
that's
but
good.
we
wow, that
are looking
one-on-one.
to do group as well.
Okay. So get that one-on-one attention. That's very, very good. So how do you handle those students that come in with those challenges, with those situations? I know you said you don't really want to pry, but I mean, unfortunately, not like Sister Net said, not everyone has a perfect world. So how do you give that one-on-one attention?
Well, it's pretty easy because you focus on the student. And so whatever your family life looks like may come out in your behavior. So I just redirect the behavior. Like, okay, it's okay, you're good. I had one student who said, it's my temper, and I said, no, it's not. You don't have a temper. You know how to handle when you feel that way. So doing different things like that, because you are you're set up to believe what you're told,
That's
or
true.
what
That is
so if
true.
you think that you have a temper, then every time you don't get something right, then you're going to go, oh well, I have a temper. Well, now you've made that an excuse.
Mhm.
So
Mm,
trying to reverse that.
that's great.
So when the parent drops the child off, they don't have to stay with them.
Oh no, I kicked them out.
That's probably best.
I kick them out before they even start tutoring. I'm like, okay, goodbye.
Good night.
Yeah.
I'm sure the parents appreciate it though. I'm
They
really
do, but
sure
you'll
they don't
you'll
have a
never get
problem.
to know the child if the parent is sitting right there. You know how everyone is around their mama. They're like,
Yeah.
That's true.
yes, ma'am.
So at the end of your day, you can say what?
At the end of the day, I can say that I have made a difference in somebody's life.
And that's
That's what I
important.
take away from. Yes, that is very, very important. There are some days that I sit here and I cry and I watch the
Mm,
progress of my students. I'm like, oh my God, how? How
wow.
was I able to, do this? And it's with his help. So I'm very grateful.
Very good.
So when children leave, they're given a positive outlook.
Yes.
That's very
When I had to kick them out, it's a positive
good.
outlook. Right? Okay, you gotta go home.
Have there been children that took an unusually long time to learn?
I don't think there's an unusually long time to learn. Because every time you're making steps toward, like, you're growing. If you're growing, then I don't usually say it's an unusually long time to learn. So they're always making steps. Once you get a child connected with you, it
Mhm.
doesn't take long for them to grow. And so the thing that I think that happens in the school systems a lot of times is there's a disconnect. So then that's why you see that the children are kind of on a standstill with their growth, because they're not connected. But once you connect with the child, growth is inevitable.
So once you connect, then you can put into them what is needed to achieve.
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Very good. Very
So
good.
you're looking forward to expanding?
Of course.
So are you going to
Of
be in other
course.
cities like Macon?
We're gonna speak it. Look, we're gonna speak that. Yes, I've thought about that many times. That I want to grow. I love being in Milledgeville. I want to continue to be in Milledgeville, but I also want to take what I'm doing to other places as
Right.
well.
Because it is definitely needed.
Absolutely.
Definitely needed.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. It's about this time Pastor usually starts slowing down. Yes, ma'am.
as we draw to a conclusion, we want to thank our guest this evening, and we thank the Wounded Hearts, Wounded Church's staff, Prince, the resident counselor, Tennille, the tech specialist, and I'm Lolita, the host for this evening. We thank you so much for being with us, and we hope that you will join us again next week. Thank you.
Amen.